America is in crisis. The U.S. already spends about $190 billion annually on obesity-related health care, and as the workforce becomes sicker, the economic output declines. Obesity costs our economy over $1.4 trillion each year in lost productivity, and it's getting worse. By 2030, it's estimated that nearly half of all Americans will be obese. This alarming trend is set to drastically impact the future of America. For its children, healthcare system, the economy, and the nation as a whole. Once known around the world for its strength, prosperity, and the big American dream, by 2030, this image will be replaced, facing an obesity prevalence of nearly 50%. This means extreme risks of diabetes, heart disease, and cancers. The impact on life expectancy? Catastrophic. We're staring down the barrel of the first generation to live shorter lives than their parents. Globally, America's obesity rates stand out. While countries like Japan and South Korea have obesity rates below 5%, the U.S. is among the highest. This isn't just a health issue. It's a devastating crisis with implications for global competitiveness and the continued existence of its population. Let's dive into where we stand now. The statistics paint a striking picture of America's obesity epidemic, a crisis that extends far beyond individual health concerns. A profound 36.2% of 258 million American adults are currently living with obesity. To put this in perspective, that's more than 1 in every 3 adults, a rate that has seen a relentless climb over the past decades. This epidemic is not limited to adults. Our children, the very future of this nation, are increasingly caught in the web of obesity. Nearly 20% of children and adolescents are now classified as obese. These numbers are more than alarming. They reflect a generational shift, a fundamental change in the future trajectory of our nation's youth. Obesity in childhood sets the stage for potential lifelong health issues, including early onset of chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and heart conditions. Furthermore, children with obesity often face bullying and social isolation, which can lead to long-term psychological effects and impact their academic performance and social development. Across America, our daily lives are undergoing a seismic shift. The obesity epidemic is reshaping our public spaces, transportation, and even the furniture in our homes and offices. This isn't just about comfort. It's a subtle normalization of a growing health crisis, silently dictating how we design and navigate our world. Each widened seat and reinforced structure in public areas stands as a testament to the increasing prevalence of obesity. How obesity gained a foothold in America. Post-World War II, America witnessed a boom in the food industry. Advancements in food processing and preservation led to an abundance of cheap, calorie-dense foods. This era marked the beginning of a major dietary shift, with processed and fast foods gradually becoming staples in American diets. As the decades rolled on, the fast food industry skyrocketed. Busy lifestyles and the allure of convenience turned fast food into a daily habit for many. These meals, often high in fat, sugar, and calories, laid the groundwork for widespread weight gain. Parallel to these dietary changes, technological advancements transformed the American way of life. More jobs became desk-bound, screen time increased, and physical activity decreased. The sedentary lifestyle became the norm, further fueling the obesity epidemic. Lower-income neighborhoods often became food deserts, lacking access to fresh, healthy food options. For many, affordable food choices were limited to what's available, often processed and fast foods. Agricultural policies in the latter half of the 20th century also contributed. Subsidies for certain crops, like corn and soy, led to an overabundance of high fructose corn syrup and other calorie-rich, nutrient-poor food additives in American diets. Over the years, there's been a shift in cultural norms and perceptions regarding food and body image. Larger portion sizes became normalized, and the concept of supersizing meals took root. There was a disconnect between food, health, and well-being. 2030 and beyond. As we peer into the future, particularly toward 2030 and beyond, the scenario of obesity in America is alarming. The trends point toward a deepening crisis, one that could contribute significantly to the nation's decline. Current projections paint a grim picture. The Trust for America's Health reports a worrying trajectory. If current trends continue, nearly half of all American adults are projected to be obese by 2030, with severe obesity overtaking smoking as the leading cause of preventable death. This isn't just a health crisis. It's a ticking time bomb for public well-being. The future risks being overshadowed by a mounting wave of health issues. We're looking at an increase in chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers, all linked to obesity. The toll on individual health could be catastrophic, leading to decreased life expectancy and quality of life. The obesity crisis is set to exacerbate existing inequalities. Lower income and marginalized communities, already at a disadvantage, could face even greater health disparities. This inequality might lead to a society more deeply divided by health and wealth. A global demise. Confront a harsh reality. How America's escalating obesity crisis is tarnishing its global image. Once seen as a bastion of progress and vitality, America's struggle with a preventable health issue is now reshaping how the world views this once great nation. The global community, which has long viewed America as a symbol of prosperity and advanced living, is now witnessing a troubling paradox. The prevalence of obesity is casting a shadow over the nation's reputation, raising questions about its commitment to health and well-being. This shift in perception is especially poignant given America's historical role in spearheading health initiatives and lifestyle trends. As obesity rates continue to climb, international respect for America is in jeopardy. The failure to effectively manage and reverse this health crisis is seen as a sign of declining societal discipline and governance. This erosion of esteem is not just in health circles, but extends to broader discussions about the quality of life and societal priorities in America. The concept of the American dream, traditionally associated with prosperity and opportunity, is being re-evaluated in light of the unfolding disaster. The dream's promise of a better life is now contrasted with the reality of a health-compromised population, leading to a rethinking of what the American lifestyle represents. An economic downfall. The economic implications of America's obesity epidemic are staggering, shaping a narrative of a coming economic downfall. As we explore the depths of this crisis, the numbers reveal a grim future for the nation's economic health. We're headed towards catastrophe. Direct medical costs, including expenses for outpatient and inpatient services, laboratory and radiological tests, and drug therapy, are soaring. Indirect costs, such as lost workdays, lower productivity, and higher insurance premiums, add to this burden. In particular, obese employees tend to miss more workdays and may work at less than full capacity, known as presenteeism. Additionally, employers face higher life insurance premiums, and increased workers' compensation costs for obese employees. Some studies have even linked obesity with lower wages and household income. The healthcare costs attributable to obesity are on a relentless upward trajectory. In 1998, obesity was responsible for about 6% of medical costs in the U.S., roughly $42 billion. By 2006, this figure nearly doubled to $86 billion a year, accounting for up to 10% of total medical costs. More recent analyses suggest even higher figures, with some estimates indicating that obesity accounts for 21% of medical spending, totaling around $190 billion in 2005. Looking ahead to 2030, researchers predict that if current obesity trends continue unchecked, obesity-related medical costs could increase by an additional 48 to 66 billion annually in the U.S. On an individual level, the cost of obesity is equally alarming. In 2006, per capita medical spending for obese individuals was an additional $1,429, 42% higher than for individuals of normal weight. Another study found that per capita medical spending was $2,741, higher for obese individuals, a 150% increase compared to non-obese individuals. Over a lifetime, the per-person costs for obesity are comparable to those for smoking. But while smoking accounts for a mere 11.5% of Americans, obesity will account for half of its population, with middle-aged men experiencing $9,000 to $17,000 higher costs for treatment of common obesity-related conditions compared to normal weight adults. For indirect cost, America loses a staggering $1.4 trillion annually in productivity, dwarfing the GDPs of economic powerhouses like Australia or Spain. The ripple effect is terrifying. Every sick day, reduced work output, early retirement due to health complications, and mortality chips away at the nation's productivity. It's a slow bleed, sapping about 8% of the U.S. GDP, a self-inflicted wound on the very fabric of our economic vitality. A low birth rate meets health conditions. The collision of America's obesity crisis with its already declining birth rates is not just a health and economic issue. It's an emergency that threatens the very future of the nation. Demographically, America is facing this dual challenge: an already declining birth rate compounded by the rising prevalence of obesity among women of reproductive age. America's birth rate has been on a downward trend, with various factors contributing to this decline. Societal shifts, economic pressures, and changing personal choices have all played a role in reducing the number of births. The recent statistics are a clarion call to action. In the span of just 1 year, from 2020 to 2021, half of all U.S. states witnessed more deaths than births, a phenomenon known as natural decrease. This alarming trend, more pronounced in the Northeast, home to 57 million people, where 78% of states are experiencing this shift, paints a picture of a nation on the brink of a profound transformation. The U.S. labor force is aging, with the number of people aged 75 and older expected to grow by 96.5% by 2030. Concurrently, the labor force of people aged 16 to 24 is projected to shrink by 7.5% in the same period. This demographic shift will lead to a shortage of young workers, which could strain various industries and economic sectors. As the population ages, the strain on the pension system and Social Security intensifies. The number of workers sharing the cost of supporting Social Security beneficiaries is declining sharply. Projections indicate that there will be only 2.1 workers per Social Security beneficiary by 2040, down from 3.7 in 1970. This imbalance could lead to funding shortfalls and challenges in sustaining pension payouts. With fewer young people, the workforce in critical sectors like healthcare and education is expected to face shortages. This could lead to challenges in providing essential services, especially as the older population, which requires more medical care, continues to grow next to the rising obesity disaster. The obesity epidemic further complicates the labor market. Individuals with obesity-related health problems may find it challenging to perform physically demanding jobs. This limitation could exacerbate the labor shortage in industries that rely on physical labor. A collapsing healthcare system. The United States healthcare system faces an impending crisis, exacerbated by the increasing prevalence of obesity. As we look towards the future, the strain on healthcare due to obesity-related health issues is leading our system towards imminent collapse. The demand for healthcare services due to obesity-related conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, cancers, and joint problems is set to increase. This will put a significant strain on healthcare facilities, leading to potential shortages in resources and increased wait times for all patients. With an aging population and a shrinking younger workforce, the healthcare system already has immense challenges to overcome. With obesity, we are adding preventable strain onto an industry already overwhelmed with obstacles. As we are looking into the current crisis, we avoid looking at the future, pushing our problems away until it's too late to deal with them. Something that will be our legacy for our children and theirs to inherit. Born is a generation whose childhood is no longer synonymous with vitality and health, but is marred by the burdens of chronic diseases. A generation where the halls of schools echo not with the sounds of youthful exuberance, but with conversations about diabetes management, heart health, and dietary restrictions. This is not a distant dystopian future. This is the imminent reality we are facing as we hurtle towards 2030, where at least a quarter of the children in schools will have obesity. The impact on life expectancy is stark and unnerving. For the first time in centuries, we are confronted with the chilling prospect of a generation living shorter lives than their parents. This is not just a setback, it's a historical reversal, a blight on the narrative of progress that has defined modern society. We are talking about a fundamental shift in the trajectory of human development. This crisis is not just about individual choices, it's a systemic failure. The culture of excess, a cog in this disastrous machine. As America faces its own set of challenges, from a healthcare system under pressure to a shifting demographic landscape, it's vital to remember, the future is not predestined. While demographics and the obesity crisis will shape it, they won't define it. Americans have always been known for their ability to tackle and overcome immense challenges. This period may be marked by trials, but it will also be a testament to resilience and innovation. America might be bending under the weight of its current crises, but it will not break. This nation has weathered storms before, and it will emerge with renewed strength and wisdom. Together, facing these challenges head-on, America will continue to thrive and evolve as it always has.